everybody. Thanks for tuning in. My name's Ben. I'm the community lead at Ethfinex. I'm delighted to have Josip, CTO of Tolar, Zoran, CEO of Tolar, and Mario, head of business development at Tolar. So thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. So perhaps, as always, it's best to start from the beginning. How did Tolar come into existence, and what key issues are you guys addressing?
Okay, so I might start with this part. Besides being the CEO at Tolar Cashnet, I'm also a co-founder and managing partner in Kotruli Business School in Zagreb and Belgrade in Serbia. And we started in exploring new technologies 5 years ago when this whole trend about the digitalization of business became very popular. And one of these new technologies that we were looking at was blockchain. But at that time, we were practically trying to see why blockchain technology is not widely used in business or government sector. And then we started to explore what are the obstacles that current blockchain solutions are having and what is preventing blockchain to be widely adopted by industry. And then we saw all the current challenges that blockchain has in terms of scalability, energy consumption in those days, because everything was based on proof of work concept, scalability, transaction speed, and data storage. And at the same time, we went together with Josip working on some other IT solutions not related to blockchain. But we started to investigate together with Josip and a couple of mathematicians what can be done to practically try to develop a new platform that would keep all the good things of blockchain, but also try to resolve all these issues that blockchain had at that time and some platforms are still having today. And now, 5 years later, we are proud that we are launching our testnet called Cashnet, our platform, which is practically solving all the obstacles of blockchain in terms of transaction speed, scalability, energy consumption, and data storage.
Nice, thanks. Very good intro. Perhaps you can speak a little bit about the team behind it. So I know we've got the three of you, but how big is the team today, and what sorts of backgrounds does everybody have?
Well, we basically have the two bigger parts of the team, or let's say three. So one part is mainly technical, so that's the part of the team I'm leading on. And so we have the developers and researchers who worked on the algorithm itself. And also we have one more team in the technical part that is doing specific solutions. So let's say second layer applications on top of Cashnet, because you can have the best platform in the world, but if nobody uses it or it does not have any real world usage for normal users, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah. So as Zoran mentioned, we'll be releasing our testnet now in April, and also the mainnet somewhere in June. So we also want already at that time to have some things already there for people to use.
Cool.
But already some projects that we're working right now with, where we work with the partners on the pilots, and where we would use Tolar in the future as the main platform for applications and development for them. I'm leading this part, and I think it's really important for us also to understand the needs of the customer at the end. So what we wanted to do when we are building the system, to create a sort of API documentation, everything which is needed, so the developer can feel secure and can use our technology very easy. So if he knows how to use Ethereum, he will know how to use Tolar, which is really important. And also we will provide templates and examples for the future developers to join our ecosystem to create their own applications. So this is, for us, what we are building is like a starter's application for the partners, but we see that expanding this ecosystem will help us, but will also help developers to use this great product.
And the second part of the team is this, let's say, business development team, and Zoran can maybe also comment about that later, but we basically have people that go out to try to find perfect, let's say, solutions which Tolar would be a good platform. So for example, for our corporation in Slovenia, our director there is his secretary, he used to be secretary in the cabinet of Prime Minister, and now he's working as director of Tolar Hashnet. He also has a good connections to the UN, EU, and so on. So he's basically going around trying to see where we can use the technology itself.
Yeah, and the rest of the team is mostly connected with the business school and people from our alumni network throughout Central and Eastern Europe. For example, people that are coming from telecom industry or IT industry, which were in the history dealing with the private and public sector. So we are together with them now trying to identify partners and create use case scenarios together with Mario's team to find the first customers for Tolar Hashnet applications.
Cool. Sounds like a big team.
Yeah, so in the end, to sum up your question, the total is around 30 people in the team.
Cool.
And more than half is technical, at least at this point.
Yeah.
But somewhere in the future, when we release Minute, then we'll probably put more people on the marketing and business development.
Yeah. Makes sense. So perhaps going back to the products and the roadmap, maybe. So where are you guys now in your roadmap, and are there any exciting launches coming up in the near future? Or
yeah, we do. So as we said, our first big event will be at the end of April, where we plan to release the first, let's say, tested to the public. From the last fall, we already have some tested, but they were mainly internal developer testnets. Yeah. And now we're getting ready to release it to the public. We'll have the event for that. And of course, the second big event is actually the biggest one. That was our main goal for the last 2 years, is the release of the mainnet, which we plan to do somewhere in June. We don't know still the exact dates, but they will all be announced in our social media channels, Telegram, Facebook, Twitter, and so on.
Cool. And I guess diving into the tech behind Tolar, so why did you guys choose Ethereum? And perhaps as well, maybe you can talk about the use case of the Tolar token, how it works in the ecosystem and what drives its utility.
Okay, so I'll start with the first thing. Basically, we're doing this complete core platform from zero. We did not just took Ethereum or change it, but basically the whole algorithm itself is developed and implemented from the start. So as Zoran already mentioned, it has all the good properties of blockchain, meaning it's immutable to history. Lots of nodes come to a consensus without any node being central to it. But however, it's fast and it's scalable. Now, why is that? We use first for the information propagation, we use reduced redundancy gossip. That means as soon as some event happens, and the event being in this case a transaction or state change for the virtual machine, it's immediately propagated through the whole network. And the difference for the RRG compared to the normal gossip protocols is that it takes minimal number of steps. So it's basically according to some, let's say, statistics and data measuring. In some cases, it's up to 25% faster than the normal push-pull gossip that is randomly. So this is the first thing where we get the speed. You don't need to wait for the next block in chain to be verified for your event to be included, but as soon as the event is created, it's immediately spread all through the network. And the second thing is the verification of events, or as we call it, coming to a consensus, right? So when some event is spread, it's not enough just to spread it around. The whole network has to verify, is the transaction valid, does it use the correct output, and so on. So that's where we use something called virtual voting, meaning that when we see how the event was spread to the network, for some of the other nodes, we can calculate what would their vote be at that point in time if they were voting the validity of these events. So because of some of those votes can be calculated, and coming to a consensus is a much faster process. Now, the whole algorithm itself is actually pretty, it's a long story, you know, that would take more than half an hour if we were to sketch it, but we can also include it with some information with let's say PDFs for the people who are more interested in the deep workings of the calculation of votes and so on.
Yeah.
But that's basically what gives it, let's say, the speed and scalability. So the first one is everything propagates immediately as it happens, and the second one is like if every 2 or 3 seconds there is a new round and there is a voting for that round, you know. And so basically time to finality for any event is in the range of few seconds. Like in the worst case, it's up to 7 seconds. So the event or transaction is either confirmed and it's immutable or is rejected. And the second thing, then we do have some, the end result is still like some order of transaction. That's what basically the output of consensus is. So it's the correct ordering of all transactions in some linear list. And since we have that, we can also put the virtual machine on top of it. And now we had some discussion there, but we eventually decided to go with, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. And put the Ethereum virtual machine on top of it. So basically we have a platform that can handle up to 200,000 transactions per second. And that's, most of the people ask us, why do you need so much transactions per second? Not even Visa uses that much transactions. But the point is more in the smart contracts, dApps, and so on that run on that platform, because each state change is also basically an event that happens on the network. It's to be verified and so on. So we believe that all the, let's say, good smart contracts, all the good dApps that are currently on Ethereum and people are actually using it, but are having trouble with being adopted worldwide. For example, CryptoKitties, you know, everyone's favorite example. When people actually started playing it, it brought the whole Ethereum network down to its knees. So we have the same virtual machine, meaning that already existing projects can easily port here, like 1 or 2 days of changes. It's mostly changes when you're initializing the dApp and so on. And you could have it running on a much faster platform, let's say.
Yeah.
And about the specific use cases for this kind of platform, maybe Mario can also tell a few words.
Yeah, basically there are many also finance let's say requirements when you want the time to finality to be quick. It's very common, for example, when we're doing the implementation or we're discussing about the implementation of the pilot about the SEPA, the project here in Croatia. So basically they need time to finality less than 10 seconds. So any system that has time to finality bigger than that cannot cope with the requirements they have. So it means that from when the transaction is started until it is verified on the network, it needs to be less than 10 seconds. So, for example, some of the other examples is that we are trying to create a system in which we get as much information about the user, and there are so many events. So 200,000 sounds a lot, but at the end, when you put everything on one network, or when you use one network, and it's much easier to use one network than 10 different ones, then you can get to this number of transactions. We're now in discussion, we are also in the pilots with a couple of governments in some countries, where they would use a system like this, when it will be proved to work, for their blockchain network. So for the infrastructure in which they require real speed, and they require, let's say, the ease of development. Since, as Josip said, there are already so many Solidity developers, it's much easier to use something which is already here, and you have people who have the know-how than to invent something new. We're not here just to reinvent the wheel, just to make it much better than it is right now. So I would say that for us, it's really important that we create good projects and pilots for everybody to see that first platform is working. And on the other side, for them to, using this know-how that we provide, build something by their own. As Josip said also, it's, if nobody is using the platform, then the platform doesn't exist. It's something that we will try to do as much as we can. So basically, with this enterprise and government that we are working right now to start using our technology, and also help them, which we already are doing right now with consultancy services. Why, when to use the blockchain? It's not that you can solve any problem with it, but if you use it in some special cases, you can really have much better business processes. We can really speed up something which is a process in one company. So this is where we come in, from the know-how, from the truly business school, where they know how to do digitalization, how to help the companies, to the technology, which is a platform. So I think it's a really good combination, very interesting and very important combination, these two pillars.
And just to add to what Mario and Josip just said, Kotruli here is having this educational role, because there was a lot of negative images linked together with blockchain technology, mostly in terms of cryptocurrencies and scams that are happening during the ICO period. So we as a school are trying to promote the blockchain as a technology, not as a cryptocurrency business. We are not looking what is happening with the cryptocurrencies, but we are looking what is the technology behind the cryptocurrencies, and we are trying to educate business and governments how they can utilize the technology and how they can benefit from technology and remove the cryptocurrency from the equation. So this is the ultimate goal, and this is a very nice synergy, because we are doing lots of consultancy projects for governments and companies around the Central Eastern Europe region, and they are now becoming more and more interested in blockchain as a solution to current problems they experience in their everyday business. And we are hoping that with HashNet we are going to give them a solid platform that can be something that they can build their blockchain solutions in future.
Cool. Sounds really exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Perhaps one last question then before I let you guys go. What's the best way for anybody to get involved, whether you're a developer or potential customer? How can one get involved with Tolar today?
Okay, so basically we have at our website. You can contact us. You can send a mail to info@tolar.io with any, let's say, business proposition, or if you just want to use it. But in general, our Telegram group, it also, there is a link on our website, is very active, and we still have the admins monitoring it and active discussion going on. So these are like your two best bets. If you contact either one of our admins or us through the @tolar.io emails, you'll be sure to get a quick response.
Cool.
We are very approachable. If somebody would like to do business with us, they can approach us via LinkedIn, also through our personal profiles, and
Nice.
we will be ready to discuss any potential cooperation.
Cool. Sounds good. And actually, is there anything else you wanted to raise?
Well, actually, what we are especially proud of, we started this project with something that was not just a white paper, and we are not just promising that we are going to do something in the future. We started by opposite, since we as a school are teaching people for the last 20 years how to do business. We started with something what we are calling a minimum viable product. So I think we are one of the rarest ICOs that 8 months after the ICO is finished, we will have the final product ready. You have ICOs that are developing products for ages and they're still not delivering. We will be, I think, one of the first ones who said what we are going to deliver. We started to create the product even before the ICO, and we will have it ready according to our roadmap. So far, we did everything according to our roadmap, and in June we are going to witness, successful launch on our mainnet.
Cool. All right. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate you taking the time today, and good luck.
Thank you. All the best. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thank you.